We're back. Woo-hoo. All right, y'all. So it's 2017. Is that right? It's 2017, and just feels like 3 days later from 16. But tonight we're going to talk about a new topic. So every month we have a topic, and we're going to do the what was it called?
Resolution Revolution.
Did you just say the same thing twice?
Resolution Revolution.
Yeah. So, basically, when you think of like New Year's resolutions, you think of like gimmicks and quick fixes, and everybody's going to do this fast way of getting healthy. But the reality is, it ends up just being crap, and it makes people worse. So, it's all part of that yo-yo diet.
Didn't you say statistically resolutions
Oh yeah, it fell. Yeah.
fail?
Yeah, the majority always fail because it's this idea, and they talked about this on NPR a couple years ago. But there's some kind of concept that says tomorrow's a different thing. Something's going to change, and so I'm going to be a different person, but I'm not going to do anything to really be a different person. And so it's just this kind of expectation that never ends up working out because you never changed who you really were. So what we want to do is change who you are, right? So a few things, and let's see. Okay. I have a schedule this time, so I don't go like
We're organized.
off the cuff too much here. All right. So first introductions, and most of you guys know me, Dr. Patrick Garrett. I practice functional and lifestyle medicine. So the stuff that we'll talk about is not gimmick. It's just lifestyle stuff. It's just cut the crap and you get better. And I have several board certifications from functional medicine through the ABFM, 2 in clinical nutrition through CBCN and AAIM, and then also a board certification in integrated medicine through the American Academy of Integrated Medicine. And basically, people ask, well, who am I? I'm the guy that you see after you fell at Mayo. Basically, when no one else can fix you, I'm that guy. Right? Which is basically I'm just a nerd that figures out problems. And then we have the not nerd, Holly.
The cool one, right?
The cool. That's right.
No, I'm kind of a nerd too. I'm kind of bookish, and I like to research. And through my own research and personal experience, I found that really aligns with Dr. Garrett. So I'm always excited to be here and to be working with him. I coordinate the wellness classes here in events at Affiliated Family Counselors. I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm also a yoga instructor, which is my huge passion of mine. I teach intermediate yoga at the Y here in town at the North Y. Come see me on Mondays. And then I also teach here at the facility a gentle and restorative class twice a month, and just coordinate our classes
and you have
talks like this.
Kids, don't you?
We do. We do have a family kid yoga class on the second Saturday of each month. There's a lot of different things going on this month, though, so you'll want to see our calendar, which I will post later after the show. So, yeah.
You guys need like a lock-in yoga for kids.
Oh.
And we just lock you in the basement in the studio with a bunch of kids, and then the parents go out and have fun. And then
you find me dead in the morning.
And they've eaten you like cats. So, our goal tonight, just like always, is cut the crap, eat real food, and stop doing this to yourself. So, we're going to try to address some gimmicks, and we'll address, today we're going to talk about 5 different diets. And if you guys have more diets that you want to know about, if we have time, we'll try to cover some of those. There's tons, of course. There's always new gimmicks every year. So we'll go through the kind of pros and cons, and then basically general, does it really work kind of thing. And let's see. So tonight, top 5. And then also we have a few other kind of housekeeping things that are kind of cool. So I'm so excited to be doing these again. I really am. We had such great feedback from you guys before.
We've missed you.
We have.
Yeah.
I missed you.
We hope you missed us.
at night I wonder, where are they all at? So, a couple things. At the end of the month, so this series we're going to do 5 weeks because we have 5 weeks in July. January. And we want you through this to post like gluten-free, dairy-free, crap-free, healthy recipes, and then take a picture of those and post them on my Facebook page, and under the title
Resolution Revolution.
Like that, right? So post it under that, and then basically at the end of the month, what we're going to do is we're going to go on a shopping tour for those of you guys that are located here, and we'll go to Thai Bin, and we'll go to probably a Big Dylan's, and also Natural Grocers. And we did this before a few years ago, and patients loved it, and we had several people from the public that joined us, and so it was cool because as we go down the grocery aisles, you know, most people are just like, well, I don't know what this really means. I wish Dr. Garrett was here. Well, I'm going to be there. And we'll probably have Sherry Clark, who's a health coach that she's a nurse, and she's been doing this stuff with me forever. And Holly might join us too, which would be awesome. And so basically you'll have like 3 experts to kind of help you with all the kind of stuff that you want to know about.
I don't know how many times I still go through the grocery store and I'm like, what would Dr. G think about this? So it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah. And so everybody that does that will get a group one, and then we'll pick the best recipe out, and then they'll get like a VIP one-on-one tour with us. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll even let you ride in the cart.
Aww.
And then, yeah, so post it, and one-on-one. So that'll be our kind of reward for this month, which I think will be great. And last time we ended up at Zitunes, just a handful of us that stuck around through the whole tour. People filtered in and out throughout the day, but there's a handful of us that went to Zitunes afterwards, which is an Indo-Pakistani Mediterranean
delicious.
Restaurant.
Absolutely delicious. Yeah.
So that was super cool, and it was great talking to everybody too, and figuring out what's going on. All right, so we got several diets that we're going to talk about and kind of hit on. What should we start with? I know the one you know the most about.
Okay, first I'd like to say how many. I want to just read off to you to the list of diets that just I have tried. So this is just me. So who knows what all you guys have tried too? So GAPS. China Studies, Schwarzbein, Mediterranean, Paleo, Gluten-Free McDougal's, Vegetarian, FODMAPs. Is there anything else? There's probably more. And
did
some
you
of
paleo?
I did paleo. Yeah, no, I did paleo too.
Okay, yeah. Part 2.
The blood type diet, I did that.
Yeah.
So I know there are a lot of you out there who have tried what you feel like has been everything. And so it's going to be kind of nice to address some of these that have been really popular but have maybe not worked for you. And then Dr. Garrett can explain why.
We'll cut the crap.
So we could start wherever you want to. Maybe with the let's start. Where do you want to start?
Should start with the most common, popular?
Or the oldest. I was thinking, and then work up to the newest.
Ooh, well, let's do the oldest.
What is the oldest?
That's a good question. Well, that would be, theoretically.
Theoretically, for people doing that. We could start there. Let's just
All
start
right.
there. Okay.
So we'll start with paleo. And I'm glad Sherry's not here, because Sherry would just be shaking her head the whole time at me, because she totally disagrees with me. I guess one caveat that might be important, okay? So kind of get a perspective of where I'm coming from with these things when we talk about these. Is, from my standpoint, I have to watch people fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail over and over and over. And then we do a very just practical changes to their lifestyle, and then people lose weight. And so the most is 180, several with 80 pounds lost, and most 20 to 40 pounds, right? But it's not a diet, right? So we have that success, that very straightforward success that we have with patients, and all those yo-yo things that mess up everybody's metabolism. We'll talk a little bit about yo-yos too, but not yo-yo, but yo-yo like a
A yo-yo?
All right, like a yo. All right. I just want an excuse to say yo, yo, yo. All right. So.
He wants an excuse to say a lot of things.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a documentary called Fat, and it's put on by a Harvard professor who's a bariatric surgeon.
And that's not PHAT.
Yeah. See? We're too hip.
Go on.
And what was interesting in there is they looked at all these studies, and I think it was Tufts University that did this major study, and they looked at all the other studies for all the other diets. And they had the high fat, low fat, high protein, no sugar, even the cookie diet, right? And they came up with the same truths for about all of these, okay? And they said basically no matter what diet you do, if you lose weight, it's because of calorie restriction. No matter how they base it, the end result is calorie restriction. Now, that doesn't mean healthy or not healthy, right? Or inflammatory or anti-inflammatory. Mm-hmm. So, about 1950 is when we first started to have diets. So, before 1950, we didn't really have reasons to run and place and climb stairs in office or a workout place and do all this crap. So, if you guys remember back in the 1950s, they had all these weird machines. We're going to jiggle the fat away and stuff like that.
We had one of those at our Y in Hutchinson.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How old are you?
That's why I brought it up, because it was there. I'm not that old.
Back in her day, they had the jiggulator. So
if that was all it took, I would be so happy.
I know.
Okay.
I'd be putting corners in that machine, shake that fat away. All right. So 1950, we started consuming 150 pounds of sugar a year by that time. And we actually created the sugar storage disease called type 2 diabetes. So, that being said, we reached a peak that had never been reached before. And studies show between 1950 and 2010 that the majority of people that do any diet will never stick to the diet. So that's that. Let's make grand plans, and then tomorrow we'll just sleep in. The second truth is that the majority of people that sign up and follow the plan will never actually lose any weight at all. And those who sign up, stick to the plan, and lose weight, well, so, right? They'll end up gaining that much weight back, if not 50% more. And so the average weight loss, no matter which diet, for people who stuck to it, was about 45 pounds. And so it was really cool because it didn't matter which philosophy that you went with, which diet book you went with. The average weight for that few people that actually lose weight doing that was only 45 pounds, which means they gained about 60 pounds back within 6 months if they quit doing that stuff. And why? Why would they gain it back? What do you think?
I think, I'm sure there are a lot of variables. Some of them, crap food, blah, blah, blah. But the overarching theme, in my opinion, is this grand plan thing. Because I feel like if you're not doing something that's attainable, you're not making small changes over a long period of time, then you're more likely to fail because the goals are unattainable.
Right.
And they're not, you can't keep them going.
Right.
Like, you can't manage them.
They're not
over
lifestyle.
The long term.
They're not sustainable.
It's not a life, right.
Yeah, and that's that thing, is it never creates
It never creates a tongue twister.
A sustainable lifestyle that's consistent with life and longevity. And that's really the simplicity that makes it work or not work. And so with that tough study, basically it seemed like a horrible failure, right? So then the end solution would be like, okay, well, nothing will work then as far as gimmicks. So what about bariatric surgery? That seems pretty good. I'll just take my stomach that's we'll call it bigly.
Bigly. Biggish.
Bigly from Joe.
Oh, okay.
The made up word here.
Yeah.
So it's a bigly stomach, and then we shrink it down to the size of an apple. Perfect idea, right? But how did it get this big? Just eating more and more and more and more, and the stomach will accommodate and grow bigger. So those people with that apple-sized stomach end up growing back to a normal-sized stomach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this Harvard professor says that does the bariatric surgery, said that 95% of all bariatric surgeries will fail to get the person back to their ideal weight. Because You can drink soda and it'll go right through that stomach. You can eat Little Debbie's all day long and it'll dissolve. All that sugar will just dissolve. And so that doesn't work. So chopping your stomach out didn't work. Oh my God. And they have this new thing. I thought it was like from The Onion. I saw it on Facebook. I swore to God this is not real. But it was real. People have a tube inserted into their stomach with a little valve. So they can overeat, go to the bathroom, turn their stomach valve, and just vomit through this tube. And then it's just like you're supposed to kind of time it out, and then you just shut it off and clean it up, and then you go back to eating.
Why not just have a vomit pot next to the table like they used to do in the old days?
Yeah, just
it's the same thing.
Like, have you guys seen Meaning of Life? Yeah, Monty Python. Bring me a bucket.
Bulimia is right.
That's it's surgical bulimia.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. So that's not a good solution either. I think that is like, imagine going out on a first date with that. Don't mind that. That's my surgical throw up tube. That's my bulimia.
We need to come up with a better name.
I know.
We'll come up with something catchy.
Okay, so when we talk about this stuff, this is where I'm coming from, just so you know, is those stats, no matter what diet people did, from the cookie diet to Atkins to Weight Watchers, it's all the same basic results, okay? And basically it all ends up in failure and more weight gain, and then people get more and more disillusioned. Mm-hmm. So we want to think about these things sustainably. So the healthiest, longest living populations on Earth do not do any of these diets. They just have a basic lifestyle that's consistent with life and longevity. And the same with their foods.
Don't you think we have too many choices as well here? Like, it's really difficult to choose when they don't have Walmart stores all around the world, like everywhere, right? In these places where there's centenarians or Dillon stores where you can go in and you're overwhelmed with all of these choices.
Well, all the European, they have supermarchés in France, and they have those things. It's just that's not their goal.
How do they know different?
Because basically it's, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And so if you, like in China, now China has fat children that never existed before. And so now that population's growing and growing because they're making these changes. Now, if the government's smart, then they'll kind of crack down and get rid of the junk, like I think it was Sweden did, to get right back up to number one. But in most socialized countries, the goal is to not make people sick and fat and dumb, so they don't really have horrible options like we do necessarily. And my wife went to Belgium and she got dessert and it was like in a shot cup. And there's 6'4" German guys at this conference eating a little dessert in a shot cup, in a shot glass. And Americans would be pissed off. They would throw that thing down, overturn the table. Where the hell is my dessert?
A part of that too is that we have this corporate structure where
we're
buying into the marketing,
right? And that's what
media.
And that's what these gimmicks are. It is just these corporate ways to make things very complicated instead of just doing simple, cheap fixes. It really is.
Yeah.
So let's start with. Do we agree? Paleo.
Paleo.
All right.
Paleo.
So paleo. All right. I don't want to piss off too many people, but paleo's not real. There's no paleo caveman making coconut muffins, or almond flour pancakes. They weren't doing that stuff. So that part's a little silly, kind of how we did it. Now, that being said, paleo, so the paleo can be very, very healthy. It really can. The biggest health benefit is they don't believe in grains. So there was no caveman really developing grains. 10,000 years ago, we started farming, and that caused kind of a lot of problems, of course, because then we just eat a bunch of bread, and all carbohydrates are just sugar bound to oxygen, bound to sugar, bound to oxygen, bound to sugar, bound to oxygen. Long chains, that's bread. So, but the countries that eat the bread around the world and rice and stuff, they're not fat. They're some of the skinniest countries in the world. But when we do it, we change all that because we want to make it more profitable, and make it more palatable, and we want to make everything super sweet. And so we completely bastardize all that food, and then we make it unhealthy. So with paleo, for people who have gluten problems, which is like everybody, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But then they do dairy, and most people still have dairy problems, and so it's kind of like walking 3 steps forward and walking back 2.
And there are some variations on the paleo diet too. You know, including potatoes, not including potatoes, or sweet potatoes, and like you said, the dairy, non-dairy. I actually had some really good results on the paleo diet myself. I felt clear-headed. Yeah. I felt like I had a lot of energy. My one big struggle, which I don't know if it's because I wasn't doing it right or it's because there's a reason.
Heroin.
Drugs.
Drugs.
Right?
I knew it.
No, my big struggle was constipation with the paleo diet. So maybe I wasn't doing enough veggies.
Well, it could have been the dairy. Yeah.
I wasn't doing dairy with it.
Oh, you're doing a healthy version. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just more fruits and vegetables probably.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway, so pros.
Pros. It can be very, very healthy. It really can. But you'd really want to do dairy-free, gluten-free. I mean, there's lots of people that have saponin issues and lectin problems. But those really aren't that as common as people make them out to be. So if you're eating lots and lots... So let's say vegan paleo with a little meat. That would be super healthy.
So a lot of people have no idea what that means.
Well, so lots of fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries, legumes, and greens.
It's definitely a whole foods.
Well, they don't like legumes.
It's definitely a whole foods approach.
Right, yeah. Least amount of processing, no crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the paleo ones where they're like vegetarian paleo, and then you just, add a little meat, you know. That can be very healthy. The meat-heavy diets, the issue with this is that meat doesn't have a lot of nutrients. That cow was a vegetarian, and it ate tons of vitamins, minerals, and phytosterols, and polyphenols, and all that, trace elements. But that's not necessarily in the meat. That was to keep the cow healthy, and then we eat the cow. So, you don't have to be vegetarian or vegan, but you just need to eat a lot less meat, more fruits and vegetables, and nuts and seeds. And then, basically, there's no sugar, so they shouldn't be really doing sugar, a little honey or something like that's okay. Maple syrup, molasses maybe, but molasses is processed. Very little salt, and that was very interesting. Most cavemen, up until kind of modern man, we really didn't add salt, and so salt was just very, very minimal, which means that they were potassium dominant, which is then you just feel great, and your heart works great, your muscles work great, you sleep great, all those kind of things. So that's really awesome. It wasn't until we started trading salt around the world in Venice. I don't know if you guys know this, but Venice, those people ran out of I think Italy, and then they chopped all the trees down and then made a foundation, and then they created that island, and then they traded salt, and they became a world power because of that. So now we consume a lot of salt, but 80% of excess salt that people consume isn't from the salt shaker; it's from processed crap. So, and then they don't like to do processed stuff, and they're grain free. So, I mean, I think it's a good one to try, but I think you'd have to make it a little bit healthier to make it sustainable or lifelong.
Yeah, so cutting out the dairy, reducing the meat, making the meat moderate.
Yeah, moderate meat, no dairy. Probably pretty good.
Whole foods.
Lots of whole foods, yeah. Now the cons, it can be horribly unhealthy. It can be just basically Virgin Atkins, basically, is what a lot of people do with it. And it's heavy on the meat and often heavy on the dairy, and that can be just as problematic for people. So you get less nutrition, another allergen instead of wheat, and then that could be an issue.
That's if you're eating cheese-covered bacon every day.
Oh yeah, and people like those diets that are like, you can have lots of bacon and be super healthy. Till when those cysts that are heat stable opens up in your gut, works its way all the way up to your brain, starts eating your brain.
What are you talking about? I love cysts.
I know.
Just kidding.
You can watch those videos online where neurosurgeons are pulling these long worms out of people's brains. It's cool.
That's weird.
All right.
That's weird.
So weight-wise, How's that work out? And for the most part, I mean, if you created a sustainable paleo diet that was healthy, you could probably keep that up for a long time. I mean, that'd be fine. But weight-wise, most people, same thing. They lose about 45 pounds. They gain most of it back because they don't do it. It's not sustainable like Atkins kind of thing. So, don't hate me. If you like paleo, do your paleo. I don't care. Do whatever you want. And when everything fails, or if everything fails, then come talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah? You can do a crack diet, and that'll lose a lot of weight, but...
The idea is still to start. You can still find really good things from some of these diets.
Yeah.
But it is about creating that healthy lifestyle. So pick those things that are working for you and keep going with those things. And yeah, when you start running into trouble, that's when it's maybe time to adjust.
All right, so we have another one that comes up all the time, which is alkaline diet. And it's more like a vegetarian kind of diet, which I like. You know, it's less meat, more fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. So the pros are it can be crazy healthy because basically they're just eat less meat and don't eat sodas and that kind of stuff. And no, they try to stay away from sugars and alcohols and processed crap, less to no dairy, so less grains to no grains. So it can actually be a really healthy diet. However, that's the pro, is it can be crazy healthy. The con is it's not based in physiology.
Yeah, I was going to ask why are people choosing the alkaline diet? What's the basic philosophy?
Well,
the basic idea.
So
theory.
This guy won a Nobel Prize, and he said that cancer cannot exist in a alkaline environment. And so, but what the study really did was they looked at cell cultures, and then when you have cancers, it's acidic. So then it was like, oh, cancer is acidic. But I taught anatomy and physiology for 6 years, right? And part of that is like, what's normal physiology? So let's say I eat an orange. Is that acidic?
Yes.
Yeah. What about, I want to make a Jewish joke like a Hasidic Jew. Is that funny? I can't think of how to introduce that.
Yeah. You already did.
So what about lemons, tomatoes, coffee? Is coffee acidic?
Yes.
Yeah, very acidic. Now, are any of those more acidic than what's actually in your stomach?
No.
No. Could you drink the acid from your stomach just in a little teetotaler kind of thing?
I wouldn't think so.
No.
Because it's in a controlled environment.
Right. So if you drank stomach acid, it would eat all your own tissue all the way down. So we can eat a cow's stomach, like tripe, not me, Menudo will. That's the group and the food, right? All right. So if you ate Menudo, not the group, but the food, and that's cow stomach, and then your cow stomach goes into your stomach, and then it digests the cow stomach. So we literally could eat our whole entire body with the acid in our stomach. You will never eat anything more acidic that's in your stomach.
But okay? It is in a controlled environment, so I'm going to throw that out there. Like, someone might say, well, that's just in the stomach. It's not everywhere else in the body,
right.
So...
Right, so if you ate anything that you consider acidic, it would actually be alkalizing to the stomach. Because it's
less acidic than the stomach.
That's right.
Okay.
So, you can't make it more acidic than the stomach, so that doesn't make any sense. And then your stomach will talk to your small bowel and basically create this little math problem of how much buffering that it needs to buffer the acid so you don't digest your small intestines. So even if you had extra acid in your stomach, you're going to make extra buffering, and that's going to buffer that out. Now, overall, your mouth all the way to your anus should be slightly acidic anyways, right? Urine should be slightly acidic, the vagina is slightly acidic, the mouth is slightly acidic, and that's because acid determines what can and cannot live in there. Mm-hmm. So, you want acidic pee. You want acidic, well, not acidic pee, but close. 6.5, that's acidic. But it's 6.5 to 8, so, somewhere in there. So most of that determines what bacteria can live in there, which can. If yeast can live in there, yeast cannot live in there. So it's really good for us. It really is. So we want slightly acidic any external body parts. And then what gets absorbed into your blood will regulate at about 7 on the pH scale. So you can eat as much orange and lemons as you want, and coffee and tomatoes, and you are not going to mess up your blood. Your kidneys are going to filter out all the extra ions that will then maintain that pH of about 7. So that doesn't matter. So physiology does not support this. And there's limited studies to say there's any real merit to it. But that being said, if it's healthy, it's fine. So basically it's a vegetarian diet. And will that prevent cancer? Oh, hell yeah, right? Back in my day, it was 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, cured pretty much all cancer. Now it's 13, which is, again, apples 2 servings, bananas 2 servings. So you don't have to eat all that much to basically prevent almost all disease. So the cons is it's not based in physiology. Your body regulates your acid and base prior to even the small bowel. And then your kidneys regulate the pH of the blood. And then weight-wise, there's not really much difference in the rest of them. I mean, if you ate that way and just called it vegetarianism, I think you'd be fine.
Can you dysregulate the regulators?
Dysregulate the... Are you talking about the 1990s movie, The Regulate?
No.
Right.
No.
Dysregulate the regulators?
Yeah. If your body is regulating everything, can you dysregulate the regulators?
Well, so the body's always about the process are always negative feedback. So it's always too much, too little, too much, too little. So it'll overcompensate a little bit, but you should be fine.
It'll still come back to homeostasis.
Yeah, homeostasis. That's right. Yeah. So alkaline diet, kind of like paleo, they could be sustainable. They could be healthy, but you just don't want to fall for the gimmicky stuff on that. Yeah. But now we get to like really ridiculous Weight Watchers. So
there are a lot of people who've had success with Weight Watchers.
Long term. Kirstie Alley, Oprah Winfrey. They're like, I lost 40. Jessica Simpson, and they're all like, I lost 40 pounds, and then the next time you see them, they're like 80 pounds overweight.
Is it based on caloric intake? Because you said all of these diets will.
Right. I mean, no matter what their principle is, it ends always, if you lose weight, it ends up being
because of the caloric restriction.
Yeah. So Weight Watchers, basically, it's just reducing calories, and they put numbers to it, so it's supposed to make it easier. But then people get a little crazy with that. But still, it's just like, well, I could eat a cookie still, or I could eat cake, or I could eat crap, and so it doesn't really teach long-term solutions. And so I think out of all these, if I remember right, things like where they prepackage the meals, those tend to be the absolute worst diets. And if you guys remember one of our first videos, I pulled some of the stuff out of our refrigerator in this office. There's like 20 practitioners here, right? There was some horrible stuff in the, like, what is it? Something lean? What's that one?
Lean cuisine?
Lean cuisine was horrific. Weight Watchers were horrific. Jenny Craig ones were horrific. There's some of these hospitals do stuff that it's like, oh, yeah, they're little shakes and crap. They're horrible what they have in them. Absolutely horrible. So once you stop those and you go back to eating real food, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. Now, Weight Watchers is one of those that, the pros, you were talking about this earlier, is that you have community.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked a lot about trying to create like a support group because I've thought it would be really nice for people to get together and talk about what their struggles are with their weight and with nutrition and things like that. And so that's one thing I think they do have going for them.
Yeah.
It's a sense of community.
And so the pros are you can eat crap, you can eat treats, and you can drink alcohol. As long as you make those points, you can eat horrible stuff along with your good stuff.
Right, which is really just a Band-Aid sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So the cons are sometimes it's kind of complicated, and I think it's such a failure. So it becomes a yo-yo thing.
Right.
Yo-yo. Yo-yo, that's bad.
And it's really based on their system no matter what. It's not based on the food.
Right, and it doesn't take into consideration food sensitivities, allergenic food, processed food, crappy food, to the point where it really should make a difference.
Yeah.
And then Jenny Craig, another one of those, and that was part of the Tough Study. Weight Watchers was part of the Tough Studies. Jenny Craig was part of that too. Atkins was a part of that. And basically, Jenny Craig, it's the pros. It's just calorie restriction and prepared food. And the pros is my favorite. It's, oh, baby, Mama cook for you. Mama take care of you. You don't need to know how to cook and prepare your own food for the rest of your life. Mama do that. And that's exactly what it is. And it's just like, oh, you can eat pizza, you can eat cake, as long as Mama fix it for you, because she's going to use a bunch of processed crap that's just calorie restricted, right? And if they get rid of sugar, they add more fat, they add more salt. And so you end up with other problems here.
So I know virtually nothing about Jenny Craig. Is it very similar to Weight Watchers in that they have their own brand and they have their own...
Yeah.
They basically produce everything that you eat?
For the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, they'll do the groups and stuff like that, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cons, again, it sets you up for complete failure. Yeah, you can eat all the pizza you want if Jenny Craig makes it. If Mama makes it, it's good. But once you get out and try to do your own thing, you're going to just blow up again, right? That's where you literally should expect, if you lose weight, about 60 pounds back in 6 months from these.
Wow.
And then, and I'm very sorry for this, because I know you're one of my Facebook friends.
Blood type.
I don't even want to say it. I feel bad. He's a good friend. Okay. So eat right for your blood type. I get hate mail for this one.
You're going to get hate mail for all of it.
I know. Not from Atkins, because he died overweight and a heart attack.
The Atkins followers, though.
That's right.
The community.
Well, they're all basically going to have a heart attack. They can't run faster than me.
It's not bad, though, that people are trying. They're trying to figure it out. It's no one's fault that they're trying to figure it out. Right. And if they're finding something that works some way, somehow, you know,
you made me trying. Now I feel bad.
It's what I'm here for, because I'm here to be your conscience.
All right. We don't want me getting too big of an ego here. All right. Okay. So, eat right for your blood type. Basically, it's calorie restriction kind of stuff, but the pros are you can eat crap and treats and alcohol and crap. But I don't know if that's true. Is that true?
What?
You've done that.
I bought the book. I'm not sure about that part of it. All I know is that for my blood type, I think I was supposed to kind of steer more towards grains. That's about as much as I remember about that one. That you were supposed to steer towards certain food groups. Like one blood type is better with meats, one blood type is better with grains, that sort of thing.
All right, so here's my beef with this, okay? Respectfully. If that diet is correct, is it shared among all nations? No. Is it shared among the healthiest, happiest, longest living populations on Earth? No. If fat Americans that are super unhealthy go to other countries and they eat and live like them, do they lose weight and feel better? Yeah. If people from those countries come to the U.S. and eat like we do and live like we do, they balloon up big time and feel like horrible, right? So it's basically, if you go to healthy countries and live healthfully, you're healthy. If you go to sick countries and live like them, then you get sick, right? So that doesn't translate. Does it translate with animals? No, not at all. You got animals that travel across the globe and they eat all kinds of different foods and they don't know their blood type. But my biggest thought of this is, this means that God designed us to only eat for our blood types, but only if they come up with a blood test, which has only been recent, because even in the 1800s they really didn't know this stuff. Okay, so up until the 1800s, you're just super screwed. God's like, good luck with that. Hopefully they'll invent a test, right? And then you have to get the test and then know your blood type. And then some guy has to write a book about the blood type. And then, and only then, you have to have access to all those things. And only then can you be super healthy. Just like Jesus designed us.
So
Is that nice?
it's not a horrible thing that research is being done and people are doing that in their own way and they're figuring out their own correlations. It doesn't mean that there isn't another way that's simpler and easier, which is what you're touting.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It doesn't mean that there isn't another way. So if the blood type diet has not worked for you, then maybe there is a simpler or an easier way. And that's what we're promoting.
See, and that's the hard part is like with yours, it says, oh, well, you're this blood type, eat a lot of grains.
Right.
So then you end up with all kinds of autoimmune stuff.
And I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And so that's, yeah. And that's what what is the simple answer? What is what do the healthiest people in the population in the world do? What do the healthy animals in nature do? And just do that stuff. I mean, that's the simplicity of it. Complexity will sell a book. Simplicity will cure people.
The problem is that people don't know what the simple answer is. But that's why you're watching our talks, right?
That's right.
So people don't know what the animals eat. People don't know what... I mean, we're confused. We're a confused nation, in my opinion.
So what about... So if you don't diet, what do? So you got to lifestyle it, right? So you don't want to make these kind of resolutions where it's just a bunch of bull crap and it's not really going to help. And you're going to fail. And you don't want to fail because you've failed in the past, and that sucks, right? So what we want is just to talk about sustainable lifestyle changes. So just eating fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and berries, legumes, and greens. Really trying to stay away from dairy as much as humanly possible because of all the estrogen. Now, that being said, if you want to eat human breast milk cheese and human breast milk butter, it's still going to be way more hormones than you need and way too much more estrogen and growth hormones than you need. But at least it's the lowest in nature. If you eat cow dairy, you're nursing from a cow. And that cow dairy is designed to have enough estradiol and insulin growth factor 1 to grow that baby calf from 75 pounds to 1,000 pounds in 10 months.
That's why we're bigger now.
And if your goal is to be like, hey, I want to be like same size as high school and feel good and be normal weight, well, then don't drink stuff that's going to do the opposite, right? That alone, regardless of the autoimmune part of that or the allergenic part or the histamine part, but just that part's huge. Mm-hmm. So you want sustainable. So a food pyramid that didn't have anything to do with money or politics would just be tons of water, tons of greens, lots of fruits and vegetables. And if you stopped right there, that's what the healthiest animals in the world eat. So a gorilla that's 6 times stronger than you, that's what it eats. A horse, that's what it eats. An elephant, that's what it eats, right? If you want to add nuts and seeds and berries and cold-pressed oils and seaweed and sprouted grains, awesome. You're just going to be even healthier with that. And so that's a big part. And then, if you the pros of that is a sustainable lifestyle. And it's supported by the blue zones, which are the longest living, healthiest populations on Earth. So basically, if you want to get rich, don't ask poor people, ask rich people. If you want to get healthy, don't ask a bunch of sick Americans trying to figure out a solution. Ask what the healthiest, longest living populations do, and what do they do consistently among all of them. And just do that. There's not a perfect food. There's not a perfect diet. It's just eat real, actual damn food with the least amount of processing. Stop eating things that were made in plants and eat things that came from plants. That's the simple solution. And so, it doesn't mean people...
Can I throw something out here?
I have the finger. Yes.
Cut. So, I want to throw something out there. I have known a lot of people who went vegetarian and vegan, and they gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because they ate other vegans.
I don't believe you.
Oh, all right. So you have vegetarians, and you have vegans, you have pescatarians, and you have fruitarians, but a lot of them just end up being sugartarians. And so a candy bar isn't meat.
Right.
A loaf of bread's not meat.
Yeah.
And so they will just basically gorge on that.
So the glycemic index is through the roof.
Right. Yeah.
How do they manage that?
Eat fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries, legumes, and greens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you're vegetarian...
It's not a bunch of grains, in other words.
Right.
Because I know a lot of people that just go crazy on the grains.
Yeah. And grains, a loaf of bread is a loaf of sugar. That's all it is. And back in the day, when you ate real grains, you knew you ate real grains. If you eat black rice, you can't eat a whole thing of black rice because you will fill up that fast, right? Mm-hmm. But you can eat a whole thing of white rice. When I was a kid, I took Wonder Bread, and I squished it all into... Did you really?
That's so crazy.
All right, if you did this, you have to let us know, okay? So, in the feed, tell us. I took a loaf of white bread on Saturday morning, and I squished it down into a ball, and then I'd watch cartoons eating this ball of bread. And I was so hungry.
The ball, the ball. Bread. It's called the bread ball diet.
Wait, they should just sell that. If we're not the only ones, ball bread. That's patent pending.
You're right.
Someone comes up with that, I want a percentage. So, a few ideas. Okay, so with vegetarians that are unhealthy, vegetarian does not mean healthy. Vegetarians can eat crap, feel like crap, they can eat tons of carbs and be super fat and allergenic and all those things. So again, that's not a solution. It is sustainable lifestyle. Eating real food that's, especially like... Unprocessed. Eat the rainbow, right? Eat lots of bright colors, nutrient-dense food, the best flavors. One of my favorite books, and Eve has my book, is called Eating on the Wild Side. And nutrient-wise, that'll show you the difference of eating like a gala apple and getting nutrients versus a wild variety apple from your neighbor's yard. Like, it's amazing how much different nutrients are based on how dark they are, how colorful they are, how rich in flavor they are. Mm-hmm. And you can always expect the darkest, richest colors have the best maximum nutrients in it. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Yeah. So.
Hey, I just want to say real quick, thanks for your comments. Hi, Brianna and Rachel and Valerie. Brianna was saying, I don't know who Chad is, maybe you know. Chad's brother was bragging that he could eat an angel food cake in 2 bites that way.
Yes.
So there are others.
There's more of us out there. Yeah, an angel food cake, I bet you could get that down to a softball. Maybe a baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's small. Yeah. 2 bites.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. All right, so any other questions?
Dairy is the devil. That's always a good one. Thank you, Rachel. Just some other basic comments. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a few books here, and I'm gonna go through.
Just a few, only a few.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna have these last here. Okay, so a lot of you guys have been in my office, but my office is full of books. But not all of them are good books. So basically, Beating the Food Giants, that's a pretty good book. That's an old one. But it talks about processed crap, so that's not really a diet.
Whoa.
Pastor Perfect, that's good.
Oh, you can't. Whoa.
All right. So, she used to work in Barnes & Noble back in the day. She has mad
Don't treat your books bad. Even if they have bad information.
So like this thing, Diabetes Meal Planning Made Easy, this is horrific. This will make people worse. That's a terrible, terrible book. Your hidden food allergies are making you fat. Now that's a pretty good book. Now, I think most of this is pretty good. It's based on ALCAT testing. It's more expensive than the ALATest. I like the ALATest one because people should save money if they can get better just as fast. But just because someone's not allergic to it doesn't mean it's not. Doesn't mean it's healthy. And so this becomes misleading to people too. I love the name of this book. I haven't read this one, but I read part of it. We don't die, we kill ourselves. And it has a carrot. I don't know why it has a carrot. The carrot ain't killing anybody.
Is that what the whole thing's about?
Yeah. I think it's just anti-carrot propaganda. This dude, Han, his mom was probably killed by a carrot or something. By Carrot Top. That's what happened.
He got stabbed with a carrot. Anyway.
So, I love this idea though of that book. That's why I bought it. It should have a processed crap there, but like that carrot, that has more nutrients than a multivitamin has in it. South Beach, South Crap. I don't like this one. Horrible book.
It's going to be okay, everybody.
Any bookophiles probably just dying inside. Jean Carper, she has a healthy cookbook. Now, she's pretty decent. This is one of the first books I read that really had lots of research. This was the first time I really realized that there was a ton of research backing lifestyle medicine and clinical nutrition. I thought that was awesome. Her book is a pretty good start. It's, again, not perfect, but it's a pretty good one. That's the one I started with. You want a diet?
That's a popular one, and it's fairly modern.
I don't know about this one. So this one's got some really good insights in it.
I don't know that it's very gimmicky.
Yeah. So it talks about never yo-yo, never feel hungry, that kind of stuff. And really, you know, like the 80-20 rule isn't, so the better 80-20 rule isn't 80% good, 20% bad. That's okay. The other 80-20 is eat 80% of your food. And so the idea is that the healthiest, longest living populations with sustainable diets eat till they're not hungry. They don't eat till they're full. You'll end up eating like 15 to 30, 45 minutes more food if you're trying to get full versus just get rid of the hunger. And people are sometimes like, well, when they first start doing that, well, I'm hungry all through the day. Great. Graze through the day. Eat more salad. Eat a piece of fruit. Eat more vegetables. It doesn't matter. This whole idea of like breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a made-up thing. We don't have even baby food's made up in America. You know, the rest of the world, it kind of blends down regular food. So, same spices and everything. So, this idea of like, what's breakfast, what's lunch, that's post-World War II nonsense. We're not doing it. McDougall's? What do you think? Now, McDougall's a vegetarian book. What do you think? You had some opinions about this.
Well, I just thought it was kind of pro-grain.
It is. Everything on there's grain. Well, and that's that same kind of thing with vegetarians where they're just eating a bunch of pasta all day long. If you get a really good and the way to eat healthy too is Mediterranean diet, always healthy, right? Unless it's Americanized, and then it's crap. So if it says olive oil, it's Mediterranean. If it says butter, it's Americanized. That's the first thing. The other thing is get a really good vegetarian cookbook that doesn't have a lot of pastas and breads in there, and add meat if you want to add meat. Mm-hmm. But if you get a regular cookbook, it's going to be defined by the meat as opposed to vegetarian, which is defined by the most nutrient-dense foods, and then you can always add in a chicken breast if you want.
Yeah. So, I don't know how many you're going to go through, but we're getting close.
Okay. So, flip the switch. Let's scrap. I'm a vegetarian. McDougall's other book. Let's see. Let me find someone I like. 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't like that. Gimmicky. Super Diet. This is a cool book. I got this one from a thrift store, or I guess it was a resale bookstore or whatever. And it's an old school book, but it's interesting because it talks about a lot of the stuff that we talk about today. And this was 1975. So this was about 25 years into the weight thing.
We have a quick question.
Yeah.
Brianna's asking, what about intermittent fasting?
So intermittent fasting is fine. It's more like some people do it spiritually. And some people have like a fast day kind of thing. Like Dr. Cessna that I mentored with, he had like every Thursday he fasted. But intermittent fasting can be good, but again, if it's not your norm, if it's not sustainable, it's not real. So it might get you a solution, but is that solution maintainable? That's probably the real concern with that.
Doesn't it kind of reset you a little bit?
It can. I mean, people fast for 3 days. You can kind of reset your immune system. I fasted with nothing but water for 7 days, and I felt fabulous by day 3. First 3 days, not so good. By day 4, I felt just incredible, and I was teaching and seeing patients, and they thought I'd be dead by day 4, but I felt fantastic. And I felt so even, like just completely even for the first time in my life. But it's not sustainable. All I did was I went fantasized about the cheese and bread and crap I couldn't have, and then it, didn't really help long term.
Well, I do think they consider it an intermittent fast if it's like, what is it, like 10 hours or something? So even if it was overnight,
yeah,
if you're sleeping and you don't eat for 10 hours, there's something to it. There's a science behind it.
Just sleep 10 hours.
I do feel better after my tummy has not had a little food in it for a while.
Yeah. And I find that a little more gimmicky unless it's part of your spiritual lifestyle.
Yeah.
One interesting thing is Generation XL. A couple things about that. And my generation, which is Generation X, is going to be the first generation to not outlive their parents. We're expected to lose up to 28 years off our lifespan. And for a lot of people, that means having heart attacks in their 40s, even 30s now, which is completely unheard of. People losing fingers and toes. And, at some point, we're just going to eventually say, when's enough enough? Like, when are we going to stop this bullcrap and stop letting our friends and families just die? Just suffer and suffer and die because they're just eating crap. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. It should be intolerable. I mean, there's got to be a point. I mean, when we're losing our families in their 40s, I mean, you think that'd be enough that people be like, okay, all right, we're going to stop doing this crap.
I don't think the masses know enough about what to do. So that's why I think this education is important.
Okay. What? You know this one?
Well, we're getting close.
I know. All right, we're getting close. So there's a few books I'm gonna praise because I threw a bunch on the floor. This one's great. The Great American Detox. This is Alex Jameson, and she wrote this book after the Super Size Me video with what's that dude's name?
I don't know his name, but I remember. You don't remember his name?
Morgan. Morgan Spurlock.
Okay.
I just wanted you to say I didn't know it.
Uh-huh.
All right. So Morgan Spurlock gained all that weight. Everything fell apart. He would have been on 16 different medications if he would have got a medicine every time he had symptoms. She was a vegan chef, and she basically fed him back to health. And I love it. He lost all the weight, got rid of all the conditions that he acquired by eating like an American, and it was just food. I love it. So, really good book. And she is one of the few books that I read, and I'm just like, they say this part, and it's just like, yeah, but... And she actually would go on and tell the better stuff. So we won't throw that on the ground. GI book is awesome. It's by Rick Gallup. But the book has all kinds of crap in it as far as recipes. But the most important part of this is this part. So in here, you can see the stuff in red is what's going to make you fat and diabetic. The yellow is going to make it hard to lose weight. And the green is going to reverse weight and diabetes.
GI for glycemic index?
That's right.
Okay.
GI diet.
Okay.
It's probably backwards.
You could probably find a glycemic index chart online.
You can. They're all slightly different. That's why I like the book. And they have a small one that just has the chart. But only deal with the chart, screw the rest. And just because it's low glycemic doesn't mean it's healthy. So that's, again, that same caveat. And then we'll do these three.
So Rachel's asking if we can type in the good books as well. So we can do, yes, we can do that.
You know I can't read.
I will type them in.
So this one is called the
Grain Brain.
Oh, that's backwards. Grain Brain.
This one's good.
Good book.
I like that one. I read that one.
And that's by Putterman. Putterman?
Yeah.
Perlmutter. All right.
Upside down.
And this is Wheat Belly, which was before this one. But Wheat Belly is really good. It's by Davis. But it's interesting on the grain stuff. So that's a really good one. And one of my favorites is Campbell's book, The China Study, the largest study of clinical nutrition in history. And you can actually take a course through this at Stanford just on this study.
One of my very closest friends works for the publisher who published that book.
Nice. So, to finish up here, where's my papers at? Did you steal my papers?
I did.
Stealing my papers?
I did.
Okay. So we covered quite a bit of stuff. And just remember, so with the resolution, we want to make sure that we don't buy into that same just gimmick every year that doesn't ever pan out. Patient-wise, I mean, we've had just doing the basic stuff. I mean, I've had students that lost 20, 40 pounds within a semester, and one lost 180 pounds. I barely recognized her. And all they did was just the very basic, simple stuff that I talked to them about. And that was awesome. And then if it doesn't work, then we look at things that are inflammatory, like IgG food sensitivities and, corn and more inflammatory foods. But otherwise, it should be very simple and sustainable. So, final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, it is very confusing starting this whole process and trying to figure it out. And so, accept, yes, that it's going to be tougher probably than you think to completely change your lifestyle. And so start simple. I think it's important to just start simple and make your nutrition goals attainable and your changes attainable.
Yeah.
Start small and make it a long-term process that you're patient with, instead of an immediate gratification that you need to get tomorrow.
Right.
You don't need to lose 30 pounds tomorrow. You need to, and then gain it back the next day. You need to lose 30 pounds for the rest of your life and keep it off.
Yeah.
And so picking one or two things that are attainable, start with that, and then gradually over time add to it. That's been my experience. That's how I've felt successful. And that way you don't get as discouraged. That would be my thought.
No, I think that's great. Yeah, and that's, the average person gains a pound a year. And so if someone's 20 pounds overweight, it took them 20 years to get there. Nowadays, it's 2 pounds a year because it's 1 pound just for Thanksgiving and Christmas and one for the whole entire rest of the year. So if you don't gain weight, that's a hell of a good success. If you start losing weight, that's a hell of a good success. And anything that you're not gaining is in the right direction. Anything you're losing is in the right direction. And so, it's just, what can I do better that I wasn't doing before?
Yeah, if all it is let's add dark leafy greens this week.
Yeah, simple stuff.
Do it.
And Body by God's kind of like that, where it's just add in good stuff. But it's a lot. It's a lot of change in
There's
that
an
part.
avoiding, too, that you need to integrate.
Yeah. And, I talk about this in simplicity, but really, it's... The solution is simple, but to implement it takes work and dedication.
Yeah, and we're coming out of the holidays where you had it in your face constantly and everywhere, and there were none of us that were immune to eating and cheating. So, yeah.
Yep.
We get it.
Kind of like going to drug rehab and there's a big bunch of meth and
Alcohol.
marijuana and crack, and you know how it is. All right. So the proof is in the dairy-free chocolate chia avocado pudding.
No.
No.
It's way too complicated.
So the proof is in the pudding. Again, you just want something that's sustainable success, that builds on that success and keeps you going. A couple laundry list things.
Yeah.
For some of you guys that are docs or health coaches and you want to do it, I have a training program for VIP kind of training thing for 20 practitioners where we do hands-on case competency courses. And so we want to, spend all day. We'll have yoga in the morning. We'll have classes, about 6 hours of lecture, 2 hours of case study, and then we'll have meditation at the end. And we'll eat some good food in the middle. But really, we want to create a core of people that we want to go through and really teach functional medicine, clinical nutrition to the point where they can solve some of the most complex cases. And we'll have some live feeds about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at the end of each month. And if you look at my Facebook, it's on the schedule and stuff's on there too. And then remember to post your recipes and your pictures with hashtag Dr. G's Resolution Revolution. So I want to hear your best recipes, and if you put that stuff on there, you'll do a shopping trip with us at the end of the month. If you have like the best, well then we'll
you get your own individual
yeah
shopping trip.
one-on-one. You get to hear my bad jokes in person.
I don't know if that's incentive.
And if we're really good, we'll get kicked out of the store. That's what we're pushing for.
I'm down for that.
And you want to talk about the meditation thing, the Cheryl?
Yeah. Yes. We have a meditation instructor, Cheryl Hegestad. She's going to be doing 4 different sessions for meditation on Wednesdays at 7, and that's going to start on the 25th. I know that you can't read that because it's backwards. But call us at 636-2888 or 512-3641 to sign up for those. They're just $10 a session. The first one's how to meditate. The next one's the voice in your head. She's got another one called emotional regulation. And then the last one's called mindfulness and presence, and how you bring meditation and joy into every moment. They're really great. I've taken her classes before. She's a sweet lady. She was a therapist, but also a certified meditation instructor. This proves worthy in research, meditation. Yeah. It's not a bunch of hooey. We know it can make a difference, a legitimate difference in your mind and body.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. We'll keep talking about it throughout the month.
Yeah, and that's powerful because all this, the holidays are an emotional train wreck, and then people eat to solve that emotional train wreck and then create another food emotional train wreck. So meditation is so important, so important. And also, if you go to the website, is it on there? Is that on the website?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to the website, Affiliated Family Counselors website, afcwichita.com, you can go to the wellness tab and you can find our wellness calendar. But we're also going to post this on our feed as well. So this just shows what's happening here at the month, throughout the month every week. All of our classes are $10 a class. And you can walk into any of them at this point. So there's some great options. Tai Chi, gentle yoga, Pilates. There's a morning yoga intermediate class. There's some great stuff to choose from.
Yeah. And David that does Tai Chi is badass. So this year, I have a personal trainer that I'm working with finally to kind of get my balance back. I'm doing, starting yoga finally. And then I'm going to try to do some meditation too. And so finally kind of getting my core back, getting me back, so I can always stay centered, which I'm, there's so much of us, we're just constantly doing all the damn time, but we really need to ground ourselves. So I'm very excited about those opportunities.
Yeah, we're doing all of us are doing our own wellness challenge here this month, and we'll be talking about maybe doing that with you guys as well.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. So you might even create your own wellness challenge for you and your friends. See what you can come up with and have fun with it.
Yeah. And there's also the clean eating challenge that's online, which is awesome, through lemonandlime.com. I believe that's the address. And you can compete against friends and family too. So that's a more complicated one. We're going to have a simple one just to start with, I think in February. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we'll have the one at the office, so it'll be interesting. Almost everybody signed up. It's great.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
We're having a lot of fun with it.
And if you guys need help, or you have complicated things, you can always schedule visits with me, and I have consults. And then also, the last 2 things is, for a lot of you guys that had really good success already, we're trying to get video testimonials. I put a little thing on Facebook on that, and so feel free to post on there that you want to post a video or to do a video. We have a guy that's going to come in, John Pick, who's awesome. He does videography and graphics, and we can get you scheduled in for that. So you can also message me if you want. And then the last thing is, what are we doing next week? Dun, dun, dun.
It's a mystery. No, next week we're doing the healthy tummy. Yes. Where to eat and shop healthy in Wichita.
Yes.
Sorry, those of you that don't live in Wichita. You can always post the places in your town.
That would be a great idea.
So,
yeah.
Maybe even take pictures.
Yeah, so that's a pretty common thing is when people start to eat healthy, they go, where the hell am I going to eat? And it's that's a great question.
Yeah.
And so we want to come up with some solutions for you guys. And we want to hear your solutions too, because you guys will know stuff that we don't know. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, but I have a handful of places. I usually defer to Sherry for that because she's been doing that for a long time. And then Holly knows lots of good places. So between all of us, we'll talk about some really cool stuff to do and make it easier for you guys. Okay?
All right. Thanks for joining us again. It's so glad to be back.
2017. All right. I love that you guys are back. I look forward to more talks with you guys. And I got the beard back, so now I look legit. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, hit finish.